Hi, I'm Charlie, and this is Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders is available both as a podcast, wherever you get great podcasts, and on video on our YouTube channel, Cooking Secrets for Men. So, I've been on hiatus since mid-August. Been traveling the world, literally. Was in Italy for 6 weeks. I was in Washington, D.C. for a little bit. I was visiting my son in Florida. Now we're back here in Milwaukee and starting our new season. I'm very pleased to have as my guest Jenna Washuleski. Jenna, good to see you. I didn't butcher your name too bad, did I?
No, not at all.
Okay, great. All right. So Jenna is the founder and CEO of Harmonic Harvest here in Milwaukee, and we'll talk about Harmonic Harvest in a little bit. But I want to start where we usually start, is at the beginning. So let's talk about your early years, your growing up years. You were born in Brandon, Wisconsin.
So I was actually born in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Born in Appleton, Wisconsin, like I said.
But I was raised in Brandon.
Raised in Brandon. Okay. So talk about your early years growing up until you go away to college.
Okay. Honestly, my beginning story has a lot of tough moments. My family, I guess I'm like, where do I go with this? So
Well, it's your story, so you get to tell it.
So my family really is from Upper Michigan, and then they traveled down. I was born in Appleton, and then over the course of the years, I ended up in Brandon, Wisconsin. Before that, there were some bumps in the road. I actually was in foster care, and there was a lot of hardships when it came to, my dad left, and my mom really struggled with being a single mother and raising 3 children, and she took us to Brandon because she felt like it was a good place to raise children, and I would say that I agree. I loved growing up there. I remember just having the freedom to run around in people's backyards, and there was even a village-wide hide and seek that we would do in school, where you could actually hide in people's garages and underneath their house and stuff. So it was a very open community, and everyone knew everybody.
Right.
And their middle names and their grandparents and favorite colors. So I appreciated having that sense of community, because for me, having a difficult home life, community is what was almost like a saving grace for me. Whether it was being in sports or just literally going to school, I felt a lot of positive peer pressure in the sense that everyone does kind of have an eye on you. So I just wanted to continue to go down a positive path. My older siblings didn't necessarily do that. I feel like I was able to look at them and say, I don't want that to be me. And they, ended up in the system and were in shelter care and jail, ended up going to prison, mental institutions, struggled with addiction. So for me, that is really what inspired me to become a therapist and go into substance abuse counseling. And I remember I was 15 in school drawing on a notebook that I wanted to create this place when I retired, that it was all community, where if you were getting rid of alcohol and drugs, you can go there and what do you add? So it could be a room like this where you could cook and learn how to get involved with food and nurturing yourself, or it could be music, art, fitness, and support groups. And so I ended up going to UW Fond du Lac to start.
Okay.
That was me not feeling comfortable, really getting outside my little bubble.
Right.
I graduated with 80 people. And
In your high school?
In my high school.
Okay.
My class was 80 people.
Okay.
and I knew them my whole life, really,
Sure.
since first grade. So going away to another state, or even Madison or Milwaukee, I was really overwhelmed by that. Even going to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, I was like overwhelmed by that. So it was a culture shock for me
Sure.
with how much of a bubble I was in.
So you mentioned you did started in college at Fond du Lac. So talk about your college years and how that you've already mentioned your earlier years kind of put you on a path towards counseling and helping others. And how did your college years solidify that and help push you in that direction?
So I loved UW Fond du Lac, and I honestly so grateful that I did go there because I met such a great network of people. I got really immersed and involved with what college has to offer you.
Sure.
Like I was part of the athletic department. I joined sports, and the classes that I took, you kind of had the same professor for a lot of them, and I realized I needed to, if I wanted to do substance abuse counseling, so I got my associate degree there, and then I went to Moraine Park Technical College for my certificate for AODA counseling. And then
AODA?
So alcohol and drug abuse. So after I got that degree, I continued to go on to UW Oshkosh for psychology, but really the beginning of my career started with the Moraine Park degree because my professor gave me an incredible opportunity to do an internship with Winnebago County Drug Court.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, at the time, I didn't know what it was, and everyone in my class wanted it. Like I was the first person that got offered the internship selection, and I said, "Can I have time to think about it?" And he's like, "If you say no, like we're gonna give it to the next person." And everyone was like, "I'll take it." So I was like, "I'll take it," not really knowing fully what I was gonna be doing. And it really it changed my entire life stepping into that role.
So you got a view of what's really going on out there for in the realm of trying to help people who need it.
Yes, and honestly, it was the perfect fit for me because having siblings who I know their trauma and I know like what they had to go through in life, and then to watch them getting prescribed medications at a young age and being labeled. And, I mentioned that I had positive peer pressure to do well. They didn't have good reputations. Like I would go into every class and they're like, "Oh, another Washuleski." And I'm like, "I'm the good one." So they had a lot of barriers.
Right.
And so being able to work with people.
That's the good part, bad part of growing up in a small town.
Right, exactly. So I saw like the two sides of the coin.
Right.
And I was able to work with people who had felonies because of their addiction, and instead of going to prison, they could get treatment. And it just felt like there was so much purpose behind that. And now I'm working with a team of probation officers, lawyers, judges. I was working with social workers, and I was in this realm where it was strange at first because those were the people I was told not to open the door for or to talk to.
Right.
So now I'm like on their team, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned Winnebago, the courts there, is juvenile system.
So it was adults, but I
okay.
also did work with youth.
So you started there at an internship, and that kind of propelled you into as you're moving through college and on. So talk about some of your early career places that you worked and the things you were involved with, predating moving here to Milwaukee.
Okay, so like I mentioned, I was really fortunate to have that internship. Winnebago County Drug Court is one of the best ones in our state. Just the community in general is very collaborative and working amongst each other. So it was really nice to see that and experience that. And then as an intern, the first month, the girl that I was following, she ended up getting a different job, and so I basically took that on. So as an intern, I had a full caseload. I was going to jails to see people, and I ended up getting hired on for that role, which was a grant-funded position for the increase of opiate addicts.
Okay.
So with that, grant-funded positions typically will end at some point. And while I was doing that, I was volunteering a lot, and I was getting really involved in that community, and I got asked to be on a board for Solutions Recovery. And it's a recovery community with a center where people can go and do the
Same
thing.
community that you were in?
It was in Oshkosh.
Okay.
It's in Oshkosh though. And I, when I was 15, drawing on that notebook, thinking this could be a thing that I could create one day. And I thought maybe that's something I would do when I retired. Like after I was successful, I could create this recovery center, not knowing that's what they're called. And now I learned that they exist, and I got to be on the board, got to really be a part of something great there. And we really grounded what was happening in terms of sober living. At the time, there was only 4 sober living beds for women, and now there's like 68 for men and women, and they have childcare. So like really watching us grow the access to resources and create more awareness about how sober living and recovery communities are beneficial. And then I also became on the board of the Winnebago County Drug and Alcohol Coalition. We changed the name to Breakwater because the other one was like a lot.
Right. Mouthful.
And yeah, and so I was on their steering committee, and then I built their prevention pillar. So I did a lot of youth work. I actually created the youth adolescent programming at Winnebago County and did a lot of restructuring of different types of programs or implementing programs. So I created a program called Pro-Social Thinking and I think having the background that I did, I was able to bring in different viewpoints. So sometimes I would often see this battle between mental health and addiction. So if people, it's almost like what one comes first in terms of how do you help somebody. And so usually it's like we need to help the addiction and get somebody like on the path of recovery, and then we can really address the mental health. And I created this program called Pro-Social Thinking because I said maybe it's sometimes like the way we're conditioned and the way that we think, and it's not really always that either one of those components. I'm not saying they don't all go together, but for example, like if you're raised in an environment to say, like they're out to get me, I'm not opening that door, or I'm not going to get caught, and you're like in this different mindset, being able to really talk about that with someone and lay it out and think about the bigger picture and say, for example, if you have drugs in your car and you're saying you're not going to get caught, it's almost a lie that you're telling yourself. Because you don't want to get caught. But in reality, your headlight could be out, you could get into an accident, someone could tattletale on you and, get you in trouble that way. So I did that, and then I actually restructured the drug court. I added 6 months onto the program and really tried to help with the preventative plan for when people are done with our program, and just be honest with people that just because you complete our program doesn't mean...
Right.
I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything,
cured.
But it's like the rest of your life is what matters.
Right.
And so you could graduate our program, and what are you going to do from there?
Right.
And so, for example, if someone had a year in recovery and on drug court, they couldn't go to a Packer game or a concert, and I really fought for that because I felt like if they're doing the things that they need to be doing, why not let them go to those spaces and create plans for when they're in those spaces? And if there is something that happens, like they were to relapse, let's talk about it.
Right.
I would much rather have someone have a bump in the road while they're in our program than we almost shelter them, right? In a sense of like, you can't do that. And then they graduate and then they do it. And then they learn that they're struggling with it. So I wanted to expand the realm of what I knew. And I went into, working for the county, that's nonprofit. And then I went to for-profit, which is more based on insurance. And I did less case managing, and I did do counseling, but it was more like one-on-one and group counseling at this treatment facility. And I worked with a lot of people that were in the Department of Corrections, so if they were on probation. So I worked with a lot of people that were court ordered.
Right.
And I love working with that population. So I learned a lot from that realm, so to speak, of the one-on-one and group therapy. And then really I took a look at everything that I was seeing within that recovery community. And I kept telling everyone that this applies to everybody.
Right.
It's not just because you're in recovery or you have mental health. Everyone can benefit from these tools that I'm trying to help give you.
Okay. So about 2 years ago, you took your knowledge and experience and moved here to Milwaukee. And so we're actually neighbors. You live a couple blocks down here in the 3rd Ward here in Milwaukee. So, howdy, neighbor. And you started Harmonic Harvest. So she's repping the Harmonic Harvest logo there on her sweatshirt. So Harmonic Harvest is involved in a million different things. It's probably too much to get involved with. To talk about everything that's going on. So tell us what the mission of Harmonic Harvest is, and then kind of hit the highlights of some of the things you're all involved with that you're kind of proud of.
Thank you. Really, Harmonic Harvest is here to help increase our social capital, to increase togetherness, community, and the ways that we can really thrive as a society together. And I feel like when we do that, a lot of these issues that we're facing today are going to be resolved. Maybe not fully, but we can really tackle the economy and violence and the gap in there's such a divide right now. So if we could come together, and people are doing that. So just like the recovery community, anyone can find an AA meeting anywhere in the world. What about a cooking class, a painting class, a fitness?
Right.
All of the ranges of what people are implementing in our communities, we need to create more awareness and access of what they are and what they're doing.
So you're trying to bring the various resources in the relative community in some place that someone who's looking for X can find it with Harmonic Harvest.
So we're creating an app where you can find these social gatherings the way that you would find a gas station or a restaurant. And also if you want to volunteer, provide a service, or donate, there's a lot of people that are trying to do good and they don't know how to tap in or get involved.
Right.
So this app is something that can help better connect us. And then to thank the people that would be on this app, I created a grant called the Luminous Loom Grant and our Community Connections program, where we have given away $250,000 in our first 6 months.
Wow. So you mentioned the app that it's being developed, so it's not ready yet. When do you think it would be ready?
So it's funny because if I didn't give all the money away, I could have made it. So I'm happy that I focused less on just building the app. We have the wireframe and the infrastructure of what the app is, but in terms of the development, I wanted to wait because I didn't want to just be a nonprofit that's making an app. And so I really wanted just to get into the community, and I could point at all these different groups. So now we have, like, within the Luminous Loom Grant, there's 24 organizations, and like Urban Ecology Center, they have bird watching. I'm not Googling bird watching near me, but when you see it, it could create this spark where you think, I want to go do that. And next thing you know, like, it could change your whole life. And I'm becoming like this, intense bird watcher, and I know all the birds. I don't know, but
so all that, we'll be on the lookout for that app. So we call this serious people with serious jobs having a little fun. So we're gonna have a little fun today. So
I do want to say that our recipients are able to pilot our app for us, which is really nice. So we're able to perfect what it's going to be, and
so
really,
they're your beta testers.
And like really get feedback about what it is. So we're not just creating something.
Right. Okay.
And
that's important to have community feedback, especially for people who would be your de facto users.
Yeah, and I do just want to add that to me, these spaces and the people behind them in our community and what you're doing right now to create more awareness of people that are trying to make Milwaukee a better place are silver linings. So, especially right now with the election coming up, it's like, it's overwhelming. And so I can look at you and say, this is a silver lining for me, because I get to see the people that are trying to help make our world a better place. And the more we come together, the greater of a collective force we could have. And that's why we say weaving silver linings. And that's why that app is supposed to help bring us together, because if we can find each other, we can get a lot more done.
Okay. So I want to give you one of our aprons, put on. And while you're putting this on, why don't you tell us what we're preparing today?
So we're going to make avocado toast. I wanted to make something that would be easy for everybody, and you can really individualize it to you and create it however you want to. So we're going to make a variety of different types and show people the depth that you can make with them.
So and if you go into any brunch restaurant in the United States, avocado toast is on the menu, and it's made in so many different ways. So we're going to showcase that we got a lot of stuff to put on avocado toast. So we've done a little prep work. Give us a minute, and we'll go back and start putting it together. All right, so we're over here at the cooking area, and Jenna is going to make some elevated avocado toast. So Jenna, take it away.
All right, so we're going to make a couple different ways of avocado toast.
These are English muffins.
Made in Bayview, Wisconsin.
All right, so these are local.
Milwaukee. I did get a lot of local.
You're kind of, there you go. So we have the broiler on, and we put the English muffins in. We also have some toast.
Troubadour Bakery, Collectivo.
Oh, okay. So Troubadour Bakery, and then Bayview, and we're gonna use our toaster here to toast a few. So we're gonna get our bread organized and ready. And then we're gonna
do a multi-grain bread.
Yes. Ooh.
And a sourdough bread.
Sourdough multigrain. We're eating healthy our avocado. You know, avocado is a superfood, you know.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna wash these.
And then we can turn this on.
Heating a pan. And Jenna's gonna make a fried egg, correct?
Yep, the fried egg is gonna go on top of an open-faced English muffin.
Okay.
And then with the sourdough, we are going to use some oregano with olive oil and some sea salts.
Okay.
With some microgreens. Again, all local. And then we will make one that's more of a Mediterranean style, where we'll use tomato, cucumber, feta, and then another shout out to 100 Acre Farms. It is a hydroponic farm here in Milwaukee, and what I love about this is that they're really showing how we can grow food all year round in a state that, we have winter, so...
We have winter about seven out of the 12 months.
Exactly. And then...
Let's look at our avocado here.
So
we've already taken them out and mashed them.
Yep, so if you have...
Full salt.
And then there's just such a wide variety of ways to prepare them. So I grabbed these hot honey sprinkles and thought that would taste good with LeClaire Farm maple bourbon goat cheese.
Maple bourbon goat cheese.
And
we're really elevating these avocado
seriously,
toast.
I mean, I saw that you have your own little creation,
right?
And so you could just put this on sourdough with avocado, and I would be happy.
Let's see how we're doing here. We're starting to get a little toasty.
Yeah, should we take them out?
Yep, we should. All right, so we're gonna take our, and look at this, popped up at just the right amount, nice and brown.
Perfect. Yeah, they are.
All right, so we're gonna give the toast itself a little more, but the English muffins are ready to go. So
yeah, they are.
All right.
And so really, it's not that hard. So this is my first interview. I didn't want to overdo myself. I was like, I could bring in a family recipe. I'm like, okay, I can't overdo it here. So should I record you while you do the egg?
Yes. You want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're the professional.
I'm a professional.
He can do it with one hand in the pan, like that. Yeah.
All right.
Sizzle, and we can put them both in.
Oh, both, okay. Mm-hmm. One-handed.
Beautiful.
All right,
And
switch.
so the way that I like to cook my eggs is I get them a little bit cooked on the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some water in this pan. It gets it steamy, and then I cover it.
Okay. So we're not using any oil or butter, just the egg in the pan.
We'll do the avocado and then the egg for these.
Okay.
So depending on how your egg, you can literally just have it like that.
Okay.
I like to flip it one time, just because. There we go.
Look at that.
And then really, because the pan is hot, it's like we don't even need to keep
Right.
cooking it.
Turn that off.
Turn that off.
Let's see how we're doing with our toast. Up. Toast is ready. All right. And our sourdough.
Perfect.
All right. So
this is the real difficult part. You just put the avocado right on top, and you can put as much on, or
we're adding the avocado, which is pretty much this avocado. Did you put any pepper or just salt?
I put a little bit of salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper, okay.
And you can, if you want like chili flakes or like red pepper flakes, if you want really anything, the world is your.
Pretty much an open canvas. Very customizable.
Yeah, like I said, when I was telling people that I was going to be on this, and this is what I was going to make, everyone kept throwing out different.
Telling you different ways
like,
to make it.
you should do this, this, and this. And
This is my family recipe.
I just love seeing like where people wanted to go with it.
Uh-huh.
And you can, I mashed it just so it was easy, but if you want to do slices, you can.
Whole grain, multigrain, sourdough, and the English muffin. All right. So what we'll do is you'll put the egg on the English muffin, and then we'll add our various accoutrements to the other ones.
I would love to know what your audience would do if they could make their own.
Oh, I'm sure I'll have plenty of suggestions.
So this is going to be the fun part. I feel like we should use your salt, black pepper, garlic, onion powder.
Okay. Thanks to Tom Garvey, who I stole that from.
And I literally have never tried it, but I can just tell it's going to be good. So I'm just going to sprinkle some on here.
It's my go-to spice because it has everything that I like: garlic and onions, salt and pepper.
A little bit of a classic from the Spice House in the Milwaukee Public Market. Everything bagel seasoning. It's kind of a classic.
My fave.
We can take our eggs.
The egg. All right. On top.
Yes.
All right, so we've got our egg. All right, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and finish the rest of these at the table, and we'll put a little
Pepper, a little salt.
black pepper. Okay. All right, so we'll put the rest of these together, and then we'll sit down and give them a taste. All right, we're back. So, Jenna, tell us what we have here besides delicious food.
So we have a hot honey with a maple bourbon goat cheese from LeClaire Farms. We have a oregano, olive oil, and sea salt. One of my team members recommended that one. We have more of a Mediterranean style one with cucumbers, tomatoes, locally made feta, and 100 Acre Farm basil. And then we have a English muffin with some everything bagel seasoning, your special seasoning, and an egg. And then a black garlic salt with tomato and microgreen on multigrain bread.
So there's a lot of stuff on there. But the reality is you can make it your own. Make the avocado, put it on toast, and you can put anything you want on it. All right, so...
And I never even tried some of these, like the hot honey. That's one.
You're the guest, so...
Okay. Should I try it?
Absolutely. And I'm going to have the Mediterranean one to start because I'm a dainty eater.
This is so good.
That's so very nice. All right. So, napkin in my lap.
I love
My wife
this.
is sitting right out there. All right. So, Jenna, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I would usually eat this with my hands, but I'm gonna be nice and use a knife and fork.
I'm gonna use my hands.
Again,
this one.
Because my wife is sitting there.
Some of those would be difficult.
All right. This is the Mediterranean. So this has a little basil, cucumber, chopped tomato. That cucumber gives it a nice little crunch from a texture standpoint. Sorry, which one was
Colorful,
the hot honey?
pretty.
This is the hot
This
honey.
one?
All right, we're having that
I
one.
really like it. When I was talking to people about coming and that I was gonna make avocado toast, everyone's throwing out ideas, and I kept hearing hot honey. So, I would even put a little bit more on there. It's really good.
So this has feta on it too. Feta.
The maple bourbon goat cheese.
Maple bourbon goat cheese.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have any maple bourbon goat cheese laying around, you can use regular goat cheese.
You can make it however you want. You can just put hot honey on it.
And
avocado.
hot honey. I think the hot honey is a must. All right. So what we got here. That's so good.
Right? I'm a fan of that one.
A hint of sweet. It's not overly sweet, but it's there. I think it's both in the combination of the maple bourbon goat cheese and then the hot honey.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, you were mentioning, as we were talking, that you're opening up
The headquarters.
a headquarters here in the Third Ward, where everybody should be.
Yes. So I launched Harmonic Harvest on Giving Tuesday, 2024, and my team grew. We are now a team of 9. So I realized we needed an office, and the Marshall Building in the Third Ward, it's right by the public market. I'm so blessed to be in there. It's a really cool building. Have you ever been in there?
Oh, yeah.
And so when I was on my quest to find my headquarters, I saw a closing immediately sign on the old AT&T, and Fred at 414 helped introduce me to Bob, the building owner, and basically he really took a chance on us as a nonprofit to give us that space. He really felt like we were the people to activate what was going on there, and that we aligned with the vibe of the building. And so it'll be for our office where my employees can work, but then also our programs and workshops. We have art workshops where people
Fits
share.
nicely into a building that has 20 artist studios in it.
Yeah, people can. It's called Renaissance Threads, and people write their silver lining stories. So finding the gratitude or something that's uplifting them in their life, and you can have it be broad or hone in on something specific, and then you put art on fabric that goes with your story, and we're weaving them together to make a tapestry of silver linings.
That's great.
Yeah, we'll have a gallery so people can see, and then in the front of our headquarters will be a fundraising marketplace. So everything we sell will go right into our mission. All of the additional revenue every year will pour into our grant. So we could give away money and help our community simply by people shopping with us, and everything we're creating is with local artisans and makers, and it's really fun, really cool.
Well, your work is to be lauded, and it's greatly appreciated. And just by the food that you brought today, all of it is locally sourced, and you plug in a lot of small local businesses, which is a great thing. So,
Thank you.
So before you take another bite, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. It
was
means
a
so much
pleasure.
to me. My first interview like this. I love
Ooh.
it.
Well, I do appreciate it. So you're a great addition to the Third Ward, both as a resident and a business owner, and hope great success moving
Thank
forward
you.
in the future.
Thank
So
you.
thanks so much for supporting Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. I'm so glad to be back talking to our people trying to make a difference here in our city. So hopefully, see you next time. And we're out. Thanks for listening to another episode of Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders. Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders is brought to you by Cooking Secrets for Men, LLC, and was recorded in the 3rd Ward in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We feature and profile community leaders who are trying to make Milwaukee a better place. The tagline is, serious people with serious jobs having a little fun. Our guests choose the recipes that we use on the show. All of our podcasts are available on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get great podcasts. The original YouTube video for this episode is available on our YouTube channel, Cooking Secrets for Men, all rights reserved. Thanks, and see you next time on Cooking with Milwaukee Community Leaders.